Transgender in the media has changed vastly over time, somewhat for the negative, but also for the positive. Specifically in movies, magazines, TV shows, and news, transgender has become a recurring topic.
Positive attention has been brought in the aspect that society has become more accepting of transgenders. This has been helpful for others who are fighting to identify themselves. On the contrary, attention can be brought in a negative way due to the fact that the attention they're receiving is sometimes unwanted and far too constant.
Not only have transgender topics become more common in everyday society, but Hollywood has also been influenced by these topics. Coming out as your true identity is hard enough, but with the help of these celebrity icons, others can have the bravery to be open with themselves and their peers.
Out of the age of your close family member or friend who is transgender themselves, encourage them to stay true to the person that they are. Listen and be cooperative, because you never truly know how much somebody is really struggling until you've stepped inside their shoes.
Although transgender references have been occurring more often in the media, does not mean it is always positive. In a recent survey done by TMW, 70% of representatives felt the media portrayals of trans were negative. 78% of these portrayals of trans were very inaccurate.
Since there are these negative views in the media, it has influenced everyday people to believe the same. According to TMW Trans Media Watch, 21% of trans people have received at least one instance of verbal abuse, which they believe to be associated with the representations of trans in the media because of its negativity.
Furthermore, TMW also reported that 36% of media representations of trans people have reciprocated negative reactions from their family or friends. It is not only family or friends, however. Even 20% of people have received negative reactions at work, which they could trace back to gossip in the media.
While Americans are becoming more aware and accepting of the adult LGBT community, much controversy remains when it comes to their child and adolescent members. If a male child is under the age of 3 or perhaps even 4 calls himself a girl, his parents may think that he is not yet aware of sexual differences. They might find his comment cute, get a giggle out of it, and say something along the lines of, "No, silly, you are a boy."
But what happens when this same child persists in defying his assigned gender as he grows older? If a 5-year-old boy can get in trouble for simply wearing earrings to school, what would happen if he completely defied gender norms and wore a dress instead? When children are young, it's hard to know if what they are saying is just a made-up situation in their head, or if they actually feel a certain way and aren't sure how to come out and say it.
Since the outlook on the trans community is still so negative, there are people who can help fight against it. The Press Complaints Commission has been very good at calling out journalists if the trans community feels as if what they are saying and stating is inaccurate.
For example, a young girl had to endure a lot during her transition. She said, "My mother's perceptions of trans people derived almost exclusively from what she'd seen portrayed on TV. She referenced various programs in an attempt to paint trans people as pathetic, unconvincing, and inherently narcissistic. She rejected all suggestion that transsexual people could ever be in any way normal. She has now refused contact for several years."
As you can see, this girl's own mother rejected her for who she wanted to be because the media made it seem so awful. The only thing that is helpful to a trans child transitioning are her family and friends being there to support her. There is no reason as to why it is acceptable for the media to be portraying trans in a negative manner.
So how can or should the parents of transgender children react to their child's gender identity? Should they persist with socializing the child's gender to be the same as his or her biological sex, regardless of how the child feels? Or should the parents accept their transgender child for who he or she truly is, regardless of the social stigma and implications they will face?
How should society react to the parents' decision? Should the school system allow transgender children to express their gender identities, or should these children have to conform to their assigned roles based on biological sex? Which bathroom should they use? Would they be allowed to play on the boys' or the girls' team? Should the parents of transgender children be informing other parents of their children's gender identity and sexuality prior to arranging playdates and sleepovers? Many trans people view famous people transitioning as role models. For example, Caitlyn Jenner and Andrea Pajic. There is also Jenna Talakova, who broke down barriers when she legally fought to be allowed to compete in Miss Universe Canada and won.
Perhaps as a society, we should all be less judgmental of people and more open-minded to each other's differences. It would be smart to put ourselves in their shoes. It is a very difficult point in someone's life, and to help them make it through, they need support.